Hello everyone, dear friends. This is the InStyle Knitting Studio. Today we continue knitting the bandana. This is the second part. For those who missed the first part, I will leave a link for you below the video. Please watch and knit along with us, join us. At the moment, we have knitted 2 side parts. That is 2 semicircles. Now we will start knitting the central part of the bandana. Here, it is in the form of a long rectangle. I knitted it in white. In the new bandana, I will also knit in white. As I mentioned, this part is knitted from here. From this point, that is, we will cast on the necessary number of chain stitches. And in the next row, we will knit with double crochet stitches. The width of this part should be 7 or 8 centimeters. If your size is larger, take 8 centimeters. If smaller, then 7. In my case, I will knit 8 centimeters. Let's get started. I immediately placed a meter. This is needed so that when I cast on chain stitches, I can immediately measure the width. We will start with casting on our stitches. I will note that the number of stitches must be a multiple of 9. This is necessary for our further pattern. I cast on a little more chain stitches. This is because I know that later the knitting will tighten them, and the width will be a bit less. Therefore, I ended up with 9 centimeters. To transition to the next row, we will make 2 chain stitches for lifting, yarn over, and insert the hook into the 3rd stitch of the chain. And we will crochet a double crochet stitch. I will continue with such stitches until the end of the row. Then we will measure our width again. My chain turned out to be 9 centimeters, but the fabric will tighten a bit now and should be smaller. I hope it will be 8. I will finish to the end of the row. As I suspected, the fabric has tightened and I ended up with 8 centimeters. In total, I cast on 21 chain stitches, 2 chain stitches for the rise, and crocheted a row of double crochets. I ended up with 21 double crochets. With your yarn thickness, there may be a completely different number of stitches. To transition to the next row, we will make 2 chain stitches for the rise and turn the work. I will not include these 2 chain stitches in the total number of double crochets. Therefore, I will crochet the first double crochet into the first stitch of the previous row. We crocheted 1 double crochet, and we will make 2 chain stitches. The next double crochet will be crocheted into the 3rd stitch of the previous row. That is, we skipped 2 stitches and crocheted into the 3rd. Again, 2 chain stitches, and once more, we will crochet the next double crochet into the 3rd stitch, skipping the first 2. I finished to the end of the row. We will make 2 chain stitches for the rise again and turn the work. In the next row, we will crochet 1 double crochet into the double crochet of the previous row. We crocheted here. Next, 2 double crochets into the chain stitch of the previous row. We crocheted 2 double crochets here. We crocheted. Next, again, a double crochet into the double crochet of the previous row, and again 2 double crochets. Into the chain stitch of the previous row, we will crochet like this to the end of the row. After finishing the row, we will make 1 chain stitch for the rise. Turn the work and we will crochet the next 2 rows with single crochets. Don't forget that our rise stitches are not included in the total number of double crochets. Therefore, we crochet the first double crochet into the first stitch of the previous row, and crochet 2 rows with single crochets, I finished these 2 rows, and here is what we got. Now what do? We repeat crocheting this part 2 more times. 2 times up, that is, we crochet a row of double crochets. Then, the double crochets alternate with chain stitches. The next row is again double crochets and 2 rows of single crochets. Everything we have knitted, we will knit this row 2 more times. We start with 2 chain stitches and then knit double crochets. I finished. Here is the fabric I have created. That is, I repeated from the 1st to the 5th row 3 times. I knitted 3 elements like this. What am I doing next? I take this side piece we knitted. So, we knit the central part, and then we will sew it like this. I lay it out like this approximately. I check how much we have already knitted and how much we need to repeat on the back from this side. This part needs to be knitted alternating rows of double crochets and single crochets. How do we do that? We will make 2 chain stitches. We will move on to the next row. We will turn the work and knit the next 2 rows with double crochets. I have knitted these 2 rows. The next 2 rows will be knitted with single crochets. And we will alternate to the height we need. It is better, of course, to constantly check against the piece. To our side piece to accurately see and fit. I have knitted several rows. Here is the fabric I have created. Here I knitted 16 rows, alternating 2 rows of double crochets and 2 rows of single crochets. I finished with single crochets. So how many centimeters do I have here? Here I have about 9.5 centimeters. This part measures 10. Next, we will knit this part. We will repeat from this side. We will repeat this part. That is, these 10 centimeters of ours. If I lay my central part against our knitted side, do not be scared here. I will remove all these threads. Here we will apply it. Well, this is approximately how it turns out for me. Plus, I will now finish these little holes here. But in the last element we will not crochet 2 rows of single crochet stitches. Instead, we will stop after crocheting a row of double crochet stitches. Making 2 chain stitches, we turn the work, and our crochet a row of double crochet stitches and so on. I have finished up to the row of double crochet stitches. I stopped, and now from this point, we will start crocheting our tail at the back of the head. I will show this bandana. That is, we have already crocheted all of this. We just need to crochet this tail. So now I am making 2 chain stitches for the rise. I will crochet 7 rows of double crochet stitches. My tail turned out to be 6 centimeters. So let's estimate how it will look with this side part, about like this. Well, something like that. After this, our rectangle needs to be edged with grey color. With single crochet stitches, what do? We insert the hook into the corner stitch. We grab our grey yarn, we pull it out. Next, I will immediately hide my short thread. We will crochet with single crochet stitches. Now I'm making one chain stitch. After that, I insert the hook into the next stitch in the neighboring one. I pull out the working yarn. Here, I immediately lay my tail to hide it right away. I crochet with single crochet stitches. We will go along the entire fabric. On the side part from one side, from the other side. In the corner stitch, I crocheted 3 single crochet stitches. Next, we move along our side, along this long one. Well, here it is as it comes, as anyone likes. We start to bind. That is, we look to ensure it looks good and beautiful. I have bound our central part. This is my front side. This is our tail. Here is the back side. I am not cutting the thread yet because I plan to sew our item. The length of my middle part turned out to be 34 centimeters and the width is 8. Yours, of course, may be different. We have already knitted, my dears. 2 side parts and the central part. In principle, we are almost done. There is just a little bit left. Let's be patient and continue. Now we need to somehow connect these parts together. Let's see. This is our front. Since here is this tail, solid columns. This is our tail at the back of the head. How are we going to sew? So, I will set one part aside. We will work with one side part and the central one. When sewing, we place the 2 parts with the front side up and the back side towards the middle. Now how are we going to sew? There is one moment here. That is, we need to position these 2 parts in such a way that the central part is closer to us, and on the other side, I will show you how and why to position it this way. Because we are now going to bind and sew these 2 parts with columns without yarn overs, and they will lay more beautifully this way. They have a tendency to curl. Therefore, I think it will look better and more beautiful this way. We will sew, and you will see for yourself. I think you will understand why I'm saying to bring the central part closer to you now. How will we sew? We insert the hook into the side loop of our central part, then into the first loop of our side part. We take our gray yarn and pull it through these 2 loops and make one chain stitch. I specifically crocheted through 2 with double yarn. Well, we can drop the first yarn. Then we start crocheting regular single crochet stitches, stitch by stitch. We insert the hook first into the loop of the edging of our central part. Then, into the loop of the side part, and the gray yarn, this little tail of ours, we lay it here, and hide it. Catching the working yarn, we pull it through 2 loops, and crochet a single crochet stitch. Next, we again insert the hook into the next loop of the edging, then into the loop of the side part, catching the working yarn. Pulling it through and again catching the yarn, we crochet a single crochet stitch. This is how we will move forward. We immediately hide the middle, this yarn, our gray one. Now let's take a look. You can immediately see where our stitches bend. That is, they kind of bend towards us. I think it will look prettier this way. Let's continue. So we will sew everything together and meet later. I have sewn the two parts. This is how it turned out for me. That is, our single crochet stitches bend in here, to this side, to the left. I sewed up to this point to create a little tail. The rows we crocheted, 7 rows for the tail, are what I have. Here I made a chain stitch, secured the yarn, and cut it. My stitch by stitch did not match in quantity. I skipped a few times here. Now, how do we sew our second side? Here is our second part. We take it with the right side up, and we'll sew. Again, the central part is closer to us. That is, last time we sewed like this. And now we will sew the opposite way. From the tail side will be our beginning. We insert the hook. We leave our tail, we insert the hook here. We also insert the hook into the first loop of our side part. In the same way, we start sewing with single crochet stitches. I have finished sewing. Here are the seams I have. Something already resembling a bandana has come out. Only the edging remains. And what else do we need to crochet? We need to crochet this edging and those angled ties. Well, let's get started. We will edge with regular single crochet stitches. At the same time, we hide all our ends. Let's begin. I place my bandana facing me. That is, not the inside towards me, but the front. The edging will start from this corner. That is, from our tail all around the hat and ending again at our tail. Here we will crochet 1 row of single crochet stitches while hiding all our ends here. The row will, of course, not be very pleasant. I really dislike hiding these ends. For me, it is a real punishment. But there's nothing to be done. It's necessary for beauty. Well, in general, as it turns out, we edge it, looking to make it look nice and crochet on. I have edged it. Here is what I have. So, we take the hook and the grey yarn and separately crochet 60 chain stitches. We have made 60 stitches. Now we need to attach this chain to the bandana at the corner where our tongue ends and the side part begins. That is, I insert the hook into the first stitch of the side part, pull through the working yarn, as if connecting my chain. These will be the ties. Now we need to edge the bandana with single crochet stitches. We crochet 1 row with single crochet stitches. Here's how we will knit to the opposite side. We will knit to this point. The front side of the bandana facing us. Upon reaching the opposite side of our bandana, at the start of our tie, we will knit again 60 chain stitches, just like on the reverse side, meaning we will knit our ties 60 chain stitches without breaking the yarn. Let's knit. We have knitted, now we turn around and knit 2 rows, completely edging the entire bandana and our ties with single crochet stitches, meaning we will make 1 chain stitch for the rise. Insert the hook into the 2nd stitch of the chain, crochet a single crochet stitch, and then continue crocheting single crochet stitches in each stitch of the chain until we reach this point. All crocheted with single crochet stitches. We will reach the end of our chain. Again, we turn and crochet 1 more row of single crochet stitches, meaning we will knit 2 rows. We will meet later. I have crocheted 2 rows of single crochet stitches. Here are my little ties. They turned out thin. Now we need to crochet the next row also with single crochet stitches, but this time with white yarn as I have cut the gray. Now I insert the hook into the 1st stitch and introduce another yarn, the white yarn. I pull it through the 1st stitch, leaving the tail, make 1 chain stitch for the rise, and I will immediately hide my white end and gray so that they do not stick out here. We will crochet single crochet stitches all over the bandana and the ties until the end. Up to this point, we crochet single crochet stitches. That is, I let these ends go in the middle so they do not stick out right away. Well, this is how it starts, and I will continue knitting. We will meet at this stitch, of course, here, yes? Well, I have edged with single crochet stitches using white yarn and reached the end of my tie. Now, what do? We need to create slopes on the ties. How they look, I will show you my old models. Here are the slopes. Here they are, meaning they go at an angle. What will we do? 1 chain stitch for the rise. We will turn the work and crochet 4 slip stitches at the beginning of the row. We have crocheted 4 slip stitches. Next, we will crochet single crochet stitches. Here we see that we start with slip stitches. They are low. Then the single crochet stitches are a bit higher. Thus, we have created a slight slope. We will crochet single crochet stitches all the way to the end of our 2nd tie. Here, we will simply not crochet 4 stitches. We will finish the knitting like this, not crocheting 4 stitches. That is, we are crocheting regular single crochet stitches. Well, I have reached the end of the row. Now, without completing 4 stitches, I have not completed 4 stitches here. I will make 1 chain stitch for the rise, and I will turn the work. Here is my slope. It has now also appeared at the beginning of the row. We end up crocheting 4 slip stitches. We made 4 slip stitches. Next, we crochet with single crochet stitches. Here we have a ladder. This is how it turned out. We crochet again with single crochet stitches to the end of the row. And here again we do not complete 4 stitches and turn the work. That is, we will repeat this until we have crocheted 7 rows with white yarn. So, at the beginning of the row, we crochet 4 slip stitches. At the end of the row, we did not complete 4 stitches and rise to the second row. As at the beginning of each row, we crochet slip stitches. And then single crochet stitches. I think that's all. Understood. We crochet until we have 7 rows with white yarn. We will meet after we finish this. Here I have reached the end of my 7th row. That is, here I have a ladder. 4 slip stitches. That is, I skip them and do not crochet them. Here are 4 stitches from the previous row, basically. Here, we can slightly adjust the height of our bandana. If you need it a bit deeper or higher, you can crochet a few more rows with white yarn. For me, I think 7 rows will be enough. Also, if that seems too much, you can crochet fewer rows. But here, adjust the number of these rows with white yarn yourself. Everything is clear, I think. So here I am finishing crocheting with white yarn. Therefore, I make 1 chain stitch, pull the yarn. And cut off all the white yarn like this. I will not crochet anymore. Here are the little steps I ended up with now. I need to bind all of this with single crochet stitches. I will make 3 rows. I will insert the hook into the last stitch of the grey color. Here I will catch my grey thread, pull it out, and from this point I will start crocheting single crochet stitches. This is to ensure that the edge is also grey and curves nicely here. Look carefully at where to insert the hook to make it look nice at the corner. To make our corner beautiful, we can crochet several single crochet stitches into 1 stitch right here at the corner. Next, we insert the hook for slip stitches. Here they come next. And we crochet single crochet stitches. That is, we are binding our edge with slip stitches. It's not just simple to insert the hook, but it's possible. I think it's necessary to use slip stitches so that the edge doesn't turn out too thick. If you take and insert the hook a little lower, that's it. We are binding everything here with single crochet stitches. Next, we continue crocheting single crochet stitches. We will reach the end of the row. Here we turn around and crochet another row of single crochet stitches. In total, we need to crochet 3 rows of single crochet stitches with grey thread. We will finish the crochet. This will be our final stage. Well, I have finished. Now let me measure what length my ties have turned out to be. Well, the ties came out to be about 22 centimeters, so the depth of my hat is well, about 15.5. The circumference of my head is 47 centimeters. I crocheted 3 rows of single crochet stitches. This is how my tie turned out. The little steps are slightly visible, but I think it's not critical. So, all the threads are hidden. The only thing I did here is that I crocheted my little tongue, this tail, with 1 more row of single crochet stitches. That is, we bound this entire central part with single crochet stitches, stitched it to the side parts, and then I thought the tail was not very distinctly expressed with the grey edge of the tail, so I decided to crochet 1 more row of single crochet stitches. That is, from this corner to this corner. This is how it turned out for me. You can also wrap it, or you can choose not to. Do as you see fit. This is the bandana we ended up with. Basically, it is what I wanted to achieve. I have already tried it on my son. It seems to be all good, everything fits. For comparison, here is my previous model. The height is basically the same. But it is clear that my new cap is much larger in volume. This yarn is softer, it was thinner. This one is a bit thicker. Regarding the yarn, the Begonia, I didn't really like the thickness of my yarn. It is better to use a slightly thinner yarn, so that's all. I think everything was clear. If something is unclear, if anyone has questions, or if something didn't work out, please ask in the comments. We will address your questions and try to find answers to them. Thank you, my dear ones, for keeping me company. I hope you will stay, and we will continue to create together. Girls and young men, I really hope that young men were with us too. If you wish, please share your photos of your work in my groups. I have groups on social media. The link is below the video. I would be very interested and pleased to see your work, your color combinations, your creations, please. Upload your photos. Leave comments. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your support and your company. I would be happy if you stay with me, support me, subscribe, like, because I really did try. This is my first video with a description. I hope everything was clear. I managed a little to make it so that I will try to record something further. Well then, see you soon, bye bye.